Welcome, everybody. We are ready to launch the new year 2026. We have a new publication of I Ching predictions for 2026 by Eve Smyth. What we're going to do today is wrap up December, the end of the year, then talk about January. For those of you who are new to the I Ching, there are just a couple of things I'd like to share with you. One is this is not personal predictions like you go and look at your horoscope. This is collective energy we're talking about. It's the energy of the world. We were just talking about the barometric pressure. That's an energy in the world and it affects us. And sometimes, like today, I was telling Donald that I was feeling in a swirl out of sorts. And it occurred to me, we got a big storm headed this way. The barometric pressure is changing, and it's no surprise I'm feeling a little off. It's that understanding of how there's energy outside of yourself that could impact your feelings. And it's not that something's wrong with you. It's noticing what are these energy currents and how can I maneuver them successfully because they're going to be there. It's not like you can choose to check out and not be impacted. In the beginning of the book, Eve does a nice job of giving a lot of background. On page 4, she says the main principle is perception shapes experience. So your perception of the world is both from your experiences, expectations, the stories that you tell yourself, and the stories that other people tell you. It feels like reality, but it's only one of the billions of possible ways to see. That's an important thing to remember, that the book and the work of the I Ching are intended to help you see thought and the energy they create more clearly, thus enabling you to practice and move towards mastery as an observer of your own mind. And there's a lot of talk now about mindset. People have finally made a click that mindset determines a lot of things. By observing your own mind, you have choice. You can choose a direction or how you want your thoughts to go. You can replace thoughts that are dragging you down or making you feel bad with something else. So in this respect, this is the freedom that you have over your own life and creating your own reality. It's change your thinking, change your life. That's kind of the core of the I Ching. This is about collective energy. Anything else you want to say before we get started? Oh, I
No.
didn't introduce us. I'm Alice Smith, and my co-host is
Donald Cowdrey. We've been doing the I Ching conversations. This is our third, and we'll be doing it throughout 2026. So remember to follow us if you're enjoying the conversations and make comments if anything lights you up or you feel called to.
In order to get the book, I'll have a link below. This is available on Amazon, either on Kindle or you can get a copy. Personally, I'm all about the copy because I use it as a personal journal. So I underline, I make notes, I put the date, and it's very helpful because later on we may recycle energy and it's, oh, what did I say back in January? What was I thinking? And it's just a good resource. Here's the book. For this year, the year of the fire horse. The colors represent the fire horse, and that is the symbol when the Chinese New Year's happens in February. Do you know the date?
February the 17th.
That's the changeover for the Chinese New Year's.
Which is a good point because that fire horse energy, you're not going to really feel it right now. Got another 2 months until we get there.
But it'll be coming down the track, spirited, wild, and free.
That's right.
What about December would you share with us as far as the wrap up and end of the year?
Sure. Back in December, there was a creative energy that was taking place, and it was about being present. A lot of us in December got together with families or friends to celebrate the season. You may have noticed in December, we were building our roles as advisors and also when to ask for advice. There's a lot of like family energy going on throughout last year and into this year too. To wrap up 2025 in a nutshell, we were learning how to surf the wave, develop our skills, and I think a few times we were knocked off of our surfboards in that year. I know I certainly was. It changed direction, new information came in, or something wasn't working the way I expected it to. You're building this resilience and humility when you don't know what's going on. We're learning how to be more grounded and balanced advisors for anyone who's open to hearing our advice too.
To gather advisors around us, people that we trust, and people who will uplift us and not diminish us or compete with us, so that we have some trusted voices or thoughts that we can go to when we're saying on the one hand, on the other hand, trying to get a little clarity or understanding.
Yeah, friends and family that will listen to what you have to say, or they may say stuff to you as well.
As well as business colleagues, if you have people who have your best interest at heart. So that leads us, we're getting the energy for the year of 2026.
Leadership and ascendance.
In the book for 2025, a lot of the chapters we were building skills or awareness or asking ourselves kind of change of perspective or learning new things or challenging old beliefs. And this was in preparation for what we're going to be doing this year. And Don, I'll jump in if I'm a little off here. But Eve talks about 2026 that the role of the community is going to be very important. Now we'll be working in more of a collective community environment.
And even in January this year, in human design, the nodes, which are kind of like the environment and our perspective, are also in gates 40 and 37, or the hexagrams 40 and 37, which are all about family and friends, meeting people's needs and delivery. So it's going to be interesting.
Well, every month is interesting. Actually, I find when you have this different perspective to think about, it really expands what's going on around you.
Yeah.
Anything else about the end of 2025 going into 26 before we move into January?
We're on this journey of shuffling who fits into who we are today. The I Ching's called the Book of Changes. So we're also changing as the world changes. So who still fits into your community and who doesn't? It's being able to let those who don't fit in go and let those who do fit in stand up strong too. It's not about leaving anyone behind because they'll shuffle into people and places that they need to be into that more match where they're at in their stage of development.
What you said in terms of changing is so important because that's one of the premises in the I Ching. It's a fool's game if you think you can beat change because change is going to happen. And it's happening all the time. And that's the nature of the world and the reality that we're living in. When you know that and you can accept that, don't push against it. It's how can I use this moment of change, be empowered or have an easier access to where I want to go and how I want to be in the world and who I want to be in the world. It's maneuvering. It's like when you're swimming and there are currents, you maneuver with the currents. If you're paddling upstream, it's a lot of hard work. Things will change. And if you don't like the energy at the beginning of January, stay tuned because it will be changing to something else. And that's what we're going to talk about now. The first energy of the month, it's hexagram 52, and she calls it a mountain. It says that mountain supports multiple perspectives and will disrupt and offer a beautiful change towards your belief system if it is out of balance. Would you like to share about that?
Sure. The mountain is all about keeping still and finding perspective. Mountains are strong, but it's not about powering through things. You're really going to find that keeping still and getting a zoomed in perspective or a zoomed out perspective can be helpful on different areas. The main point here is it's all about focusing. If you're able to remain still, you can remain focused. And it's funny because how it leads into the next energy of the month, too.
Say a little bit about that.
Sure. It's admonishment, which is being triggered or provoked in a way. And there's going to be people who may provoke you, you may provoke others. And it's not getting wrapped up in the provocation, but rather, what is the provocation showing to you? Because in human design, this lines up with the G5, which is spirit. It's all about provoking your spirit. What kind of a spirit are you going to have towards the provocation or not? It's very individual energy.
Human design. And for some
Mhm.
of our viewers who may be here for the first time, you could maybe share a little bit about human design because that's the work you've been doing for several years. You bring a unique perspective. It is based on the I Ching and the hexagrams, among
Yeah.
other things.
The system includes the I Ching, but it also has to do with astrology and your birth time. Throughout the year, different gates are active on different days. So, depending on when you're born, you'll be born into a certain gate, and that's like your purpose. Now, human design just gives you a little bit of a blueprint on who you came to be in this lifetime. You don't have to believe in having many lives or just having a single life because either belief is just a belief that's going to limit you, but rather live your life to the fullest, whatever life you've been given or you're having or experiencing. So that's a little bit about human design. It's just a blueprint to understand yourself a little bit better. It gives you the unconscious energies at play, stuff you're not really aware of. So then you can see how it's all like you have those aha moments a lot when you see the people around you and how why you've brought them and what they're showing you about yourself and who are you to them, right? We're all teaching each other lessons and we're also receiving lessons from each other.
In with the discussion of the perspective because when you're more aware of what you're talking about, you can see where is your perspective limiting you. It's not like you're being blindsided. It's you just didn't know what you didn't know, or you
Mhm.
didn't look at things from another person's perspective or from another angle. And sometimes you can see where you've been small when you could be larger, or you've taken a track that is not conducive to where you really want to go and it's limiting you. And I think that happened to you in January, a year ago. You made a huge change in your business.
Yeah, I went from supporting parents to supporting entrepreneurs with human design because I didn't go with my instincts, which told me to go with the entrepreneurs, which is what really lit me up. When I say my instincts, it's like what was really getting me excited. But then I was kind of being pressured into another role. This part of my own life lessons I'm learning is to not be pressured into going against what I know is correct for me.
I think also some of our life's learning is that we have knowings. We call them
Mhm.
instincts. And sometimes we're taught either by family or wherever that, well, you can't trust that. It's got to
Mhm.
be hard facts or it's got to be this way or that way. And you then disregard these
Mhm.
knowings or instincts. I know I've found I get into trouble. Things don't go right. And it's, oh, if I'd only trusted it and
Mhm.
gone with it. But there's so much baggage attached to doing that. But it's just part of who we are, I believe.
Yeah. Yeah.
The general tone for January, which may have started in December, actually, you may have said to yourself, I started feeling this way or I started noticing these things back in December. That's fine because, as Eve points out, time is relative. The energy can show up for each individual at different times. It's not like we all move together at exactly the same time. And at January 1, boom, we have a new energy. It could be the last 2 weeks of December or the last few days, or it could be the second week of January. You just need to know that it's okay to be flexible about when all of this starts.
Yeah.
Anyway, the general tone of the collective energy under the mountain is auspicious. So
Mhm.
it's a positive time.
Did you want to
So
talk about the warning about not taking the time to zoom in or zoom out on things?
Yes.
It's funny because I highlighted it in my book. It's on the same page,
Same
46 at the
page.
bottom. It says, if you refuse to broaden your perspective, if you only stay in that one part or that trail and observe the one detail, you risk missing vital information that could guide you throughout the rest of the year. It's a very good point to make. We're at the beginning of the year, you're setting yourself up for success or failure for the rest of the year. The warning is zoom in, zoom out, don't get stuck on a particular detail. And I try not to stay stuck on anything, not even beliefs. It's important to let everything shift and flow because you can hear other people's perspectives. You can make up your own new perspectives on things. It opens you up to a lot of clarity and compassion for others as well as yourself.
And it certainly leads to a very rich, textured life, which for some people, maybe they don't want that. They want it just simple, simple, simple. Don't confuse me. But for some of us, this is the fun part of
Hmm.
being alive, the expansion that's possible and learning new stuff and thinking and being willing to make changes to stop, change your course and start in another direction like you did,
Hmm.
which takes a lot of courage because everybody around you is, what are you doing? You said this and that, but you have to follow what you know to be the right path. You discover the right path. Sometimes you're on a path and it's, is this the right path? If you're having joy and it's almost not like play, but it's like growth and development. You want to be there. You want to do stuff. You want to participate. You want to learn. You want to grow. Those are part of the signs that you're on the path that works for
Hmm.
you for now. The reflection question was in the section on the mountain. Where in your life right now are you zoomed in too close, missing the bigger picture? I wrote perhaps how my life should be here and now in Madison County where I'm living. That's broad, but I can now go back and reflect. What is it that I'm thinking how my life should be? What structures have I put in place that is keeping it that way? And do I want to keep it that way or do I want to change? How is it affecting me in terms of my health, my well being, my finances, my family? It's an opportunity to, as you said, Donald, redefine things, take a new direction. And you can stay the course. None of this means you have to throw everything out that you've been doing and take another direction. I guess part of life is always engaging in the inquiry of where you're going, what you're doing, how it feels. Does it feel right? What kind of impact are you making on others, on yourself, the legacy that you're leaving? What else would you like to add about the
Yeah.
energy movements of mountain?
I was feeling the same way you were. Oh, I'm not where I should be. I think your mind comes in and starts telling you stories sometimes, especially when you have some time off and you're not as busy with things. Then your mind cuts in and starts telling you stories like, oh, you should be further ahead or you should be working on this or that. I'm watching the stories now that my mind tells me because they're quite funny, but they can also get you zoomed into that place where, oh, I'm not where I'm supposed to be, but not really knowing where you're supposed to be, what that looks, right? So you got to zoom out there and say, okay, what should this really look like? What would be fun? What brings me joy? Am I doing those things? Because sometimes your mind just tells you crazy stories to get you to act.
You then second guess yourself. And that's where I've run into trouble where, oh, I should make a change. Well, no, everything's fine.
I'm learning to allow more and not pursue things as much. So even with my new business direction, I'm just going to see what happens and what unfolds. And I'm excited there's some opportunities coming for the new year, but I'm not going to let expectation form those things because when those things don't quite meet what you expect them to look like, it can make you upset. It's better to go for what you want, but don't have any expectation of the outcome. That way, you leave room to become surprised. Oh, wow, I didn't think that was going to happen in that way. So that's very interesting. That was fun.
That's so true because you shut down other options and possibilities. Sometimes it helps to have a short term, very specific goal that you
Mhm.
have to get done. And you know that it's a stepping stone. Eve talks about the big picture, what you want to do, but breaking it down into very small steps and then choosing one step
And like all last year, we were learning how to deal with those changes and adapt.
Right.
Because it's like every time you thought you were steady on your feet, a wave would come by and knock you off your surfboard.
That's
So,
true. And that's where the value of having trusted people around you, that when you do need to make a course correction or you're thinking of something, you have people you can go to and they will tell you the truth and they will say, do not do that. Or they'll say the timing is wrong, maybe next year or maybe in 6 months, but don't do that now. That's been hard for me in the past. I need to do it, plan it, just go for it. But many times when I would ask a few trusted people, I would get insights that, oh, I need to slow down, or that's not a good idea. Maybe I need to put that aside. Maybe another time. No, I like the
yeah.
idea, but maybe it's the wrong thing at the wrong time.
And if you're doing stuff and you're not enjoying it, then you're not really living.
You're actually in slavery to
Mhm.
an outcome that may or may not be in your best interest or anybody's best interest.
I laugh at it because I see it so clearly now, but it's a fun journey
Well, it's a relief, isn't it?
because everybody wants to be so serious, but you also need the bit of play, right? Like if you ever work in a very stressful work environment, I had the experience in my past where we got a little bit playful, but people didn't like to see that at the workplace because it was very high stress. You can't work from a place of stress all the time because I also know that what you put into something, you get out of it. So if you put the stress and the frustration and all that into whatever you're building or manufacturing, that's what's going to the customer energetically. It may look like the same thing that you've always built, but it's not true. It's like cooking too. If you want your food to taste good, don't be making it in an angry place where I have to make food for my ungrateful family. The food's not going to taste good.
Well,
It kind of goes with the energy we're going to experience in the later half of January. This admonishment or like this triggering energy. What's triggering you? And if it's making dinner for your family, you got to step back and take a look at that. Why is it making me upset? And challenge those beliefs you have about it.
that's going to be a different energy altogether than what
Mhm.
we're currently in.
The details of things might become frustrating or triggering, or the advice you receive or are giving to people may trigger them or trigger you. So
Right.
that's how the energy is going to shift. As you're zooming in and out, you're going to start, oh, I should actually do this. And then people might get upset at you because you said you were going to do this other thing. And then you find out, are they really on your side or not? Because you're not
So
conforming to their expectation. I love the whole idea of expectations because it really tells you who's for you and who's not for you.
I thought we would look at the closing thoughts for
Mhm.
January. Now, what's different this year? Those of you who followed along in 2025, we always had takeaways at the end of the month. And the structure's changed in the chapter in that Eve is going through each of the hexagrams and 6 lines, which make up the character, which represents the energy for the month. For example, Mountain has 6 lines. And so what Eve is doing now is starting with the first line, telling you what each of the lines mean, because each of them contribute to the whole meaning. We're going to have in-depth information about the different parts, but there are closing thoughts. For January, it begins with Mountain,
Mhm.
asking you to widen your view. We've been talking about that with perspective. You call it zoom in, zoom out. I'm going backwards with my hands, but you get it. It shifts into admonishment, reminding you to listen with awareness of how the information may land, to think before responding when you feel provoked. Stop, think, is it true? Is it not true? Is it helpful? Do I feel diminished? Before you just jump on somebody or jump on an idea. Taking the time, and it's hard sometimes when you're in the situation in the moment, it's hard to kind of step back and give yourself time to think about what's been said. But the training of Mountain is, if you're looking to zoom in and zoom out and different perspectives, take the information that's being shared with you so that when you respond, rather than out of anger, you're not striking out, you're not being defensive, you're not being challenged, you're just responding. And maybe what they said gives you a little shift in perspective. You don't have to pounce or jump on somebody with cleats. There are people who just get in a rage and they just jump. And then when they're away and they think about it for a while, they feel terrible about what they did or what they said. And it makes it very difficult. That's the beauty of the I Ching. It gives instruction on ways to manage yourself so that you can deal with negative or hurtful or unexpected conversations or events in a way that's constructive for you and for the person, and perhaps improves the outcome of everything.
It's developing your ability to receive counsel or give counsel to others. But to do that, something you said about when you're off put by something somebody said, not reacting, you can also ask them more questions about why they think or feel the way they do about that particular topic. But this pause of getting triggered can act as a catalyst to go deeper into the topic with them and find out where does it really come from? Why do they believe those things? And you can get their perspective too. And maybe it might change your perspective or just give you a different, oh, okay, that's how they feel. This is how I feel. And we can agree to disagree.
That's a great tip. Is there anything else that
Uh,
you want to say about admonishment energy?
In human design, that gate's also known as the gate of teasing. It could show up as teasing in your life, someone teasing you or making fun of you for something, and it might trigger you. So it could show up that way too. Look for all the ways that you can be triggered. Ask yourself why you're triggered. Find out more information why they said those things, or maybe why you're trying to trigger someone else. Maybe you're doing it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Eve always gives a tip to let you know how you'll know the energy is changing from one month to the next so that you can be looking for the signs. You will know the energy is shifting towards trapped and steadfastness when advice and counsel give way to frustration. So when you start to feel frustrated, thwarted, you'll know that you're headed into the energy of February. And it's nothing wrong with you. It's the collective energy in the world around. And you'll see people frustrated. You'll see people acting out and things like that. And you'll know that this is the energy of trapped.
And then you can show up from a more happy place too in those situations.
Exactly. People might be interested in the work that you do. How can they find out about it or contact you?
Sure, I'm still working on my website, but I'll provide you with an email that you can put in the description below.
For the book, so you can follow along with us. We'll have a link below. You can order it from Amazon. And I think it's a pretty good value. What is the cost? $9.99. It's a
Yeah.
very reasonable cost. In this day and age, we're getting paperback books and they're $25. So this is a real bargain. Anything else you'd like to share?
It's never too late to start your own journey of self discovery and seeing what energies are abound because you don't have to be a victim to what's going on around you or feel like a victim. And you can change your perspective into life is happening for you instead of to you. That's the main purpose of all of this work, getting good with changes. The only constant in life is change.
That's what life is about. And that's good. Nothing's wrong with you. Change happens. It's okay. It's going to happen always.
Very nice. Thank you, Alice.
Thank you, Donald. Enjoyed it. And we will be seeing all of you the end of January for our next I Ching conversation for the month of February. Until then, good luck with your zooming in and out, making small changes. Have a great start to 2026.
Bye.
Bye bye.